Christopher, thank you so much for joining me today. It's really a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure's mine.
For those who a little bit of an introduction, I'm here with Christopher Chacon. He had a fantastic show that I do remember watching as I was growing up. PSI Factor Chronicles of the Paranormal World really told a wide variety of stories of paranormal activity around the world, which included everything that I used to obsess about, and to this day a little bit more. Um, so we're here to talk a little bit about the paranormal on behalf of the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which will be available full K Ultra HD Blu-ray DVD February 1st. Let's start off a little bit. Your thoughts on the film?
I thought the film was fantastic. It Jason's interpretation of it, the writing and the direction of it, it definitely did justice to the original, which had, the bar is very high to do that. And one could definitely watch the first Ghostbusters and then just get this one, and you have the the book ending of the story. I think it's wonderfully received. I think the phenomenology involved with what they're dealing with was done well. The build up to it and how they dealt with it. And the talent was fantastic. In the first one, certain heartwarming elements were there, and you definitely have way more of that in the second one. So, but overall, I think it was a fantastic job.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about are when it comes to the paranormal, are connections. We see McKenna Grace's Phoebe's connection with her grandfather and how that kind of helped that through paranormal activities for them to connect. And I wanted to know about what you've seen in your experience as an investigator. How important are sometimes connections to people and connections to places?
Yeah, connections are pivotal, I think, with most phenomena. I mean, I think that the challenge is trying to figure out what that connection is, because it's not always, in fact, sometimes it's rarely ever understood what the connection is. There are individuals who, and sometimes I guess you could say the connection is a matter of perspective, because it's no different from, someone walking outside and they're hit by lightning. What's the possibility of that happening? And most people say, well, it's just chance. But another perspective might say, well, no, there are a row of events that occurred to make that connection possible. And a lot of these phenomena happen that way. People have encountered certain phenomena that, situations I've encountered where the house they've lived in, they've been in it for 20 years, nothing's ever happened. And then all of a sudden, intense poltergeist activity turns the house upside down, and there's no explanation for why it's there. And it's a question of, again, looking at the situation in an entirely different perspective to see what that connection could be. The connection to the phenomena and your experiences is another key thing. Again, it depends on what kind of phenomena we're talking about. But if it's this type of poltergeist activity, usually you could follow the lines between connectivity of family members together, possibly people who have passed away that you're connected to. Things of that sort of that design to reveal where these phenomena are truly coming from, or their objective behind their manifestation.
Yeah, it's it's really interesting because I'm a big believer, because I've had experiences like that, being that we lived in a large house that we rented that we didn't realize was used as a viewing house for funerals. And I mean, I've seen a variety of different things, from things moving on their own, lights turning on and off. We've had pets and my daughter also staring off into what we thought was a person and ended up not being anything. So I understand that connection, and I think it's really interesting. And so what do you think are, I mean, besides people who, or like me, who have been uh, had experiences, what do you think is the general audience's fascination with the paranormal?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with, obviously, the unknown.
Mhm.
The unknown, to many people, it frightens them, but it's one of those elements of fear that it's also very enticing. And then there's a whole other element of people who are, it's just a matter of escape. whatever their world, whether they're dealing with, the paranormal offers an escape from that world, and that's also just as enticing. I think it opens up the possibility of what else is out there, because whether at any age, whether you want to think about mortality or not, specifically in regards to what happens after we die, that is always one of those looming things that is out there in the universe someplace. And every second that goes by is another second toward that direction. And I think that particular world gives them glimpses now into what could be there, and obviously offers elements of hope, if they're open to that possibility.
It's weird because like we like to look for things like that. I mean, we've traveled to the Winchester House, Alcatraz, just because we know that there are a lot of events. There's a lot of energy there that cause the paranormal activities. But you always think about, well, what if we actually found one, and how would that really affect me physically or emotionally? So yeah, it's interesting the way you put that. So actually, I want to get back a little bit to Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So we see obviously a lot of technology. We see a lot of evolution in the way we study things. What advancements in technology have allowed you to better study paranormal activities in these later years?
Well, there was a point where I went from parapsychology into anomalistics with a scientific group, and we had state-of-the-art technology, really next generation advanced types of technology. And then that technology, I mean, while it's still definitely still vibrant and still exists, a lot of these phenomena are still evade the ability to understand it. We're able to document that it's happening, but to understanding what actually is happening is a whole nother element. The whole idea of, like, what parapsychologists often use, coin the term of psychokinetic energy. And this types of energy, though, is an energy that hasn't been understood quite yet. What kind of matter it uses, how it moves, and while we're able to watch it flow from place to place or connect the dots of it manifesting, we still don't quite understand it. So we're still quite leaps away from being able to have the technology to better understand the phenomenon.
Yeah, so we're not quite there yet to catching ghosts, are we?
No.
But it's fun to think about it, and it's fun to see it on screen, like in a movie like Ghostbusters Afterlife. Give me one quick instance of an event that you went through that really resonates with you.
Well, an event, just in regards to Ghostbusters, there was a discussion. I remember having this discussion with Dan Aykroyd when we were talking about their proton packs. And when I was with the scientific group, we were encountering, it was a particular, what the layperson would call poltergeist activity. And anomalistics, we call it anomalous kinetic activity, because the phenomena in the environment, huge amounts of bursts of energy where 3,000 pounds of pressure per square inch would move throughout the house. It would snap pieces of furniture in half, huge dents in the wall. It would break parts of you if you would encounter this thing. We would have to crawl a lot through the environment in hazmat gear as this thing would move. And I think what we would often do is experimentation to see how we can affect the phenomena, because we simply don't know what this energy is. And one of the times we did use, I remember we carried a lot with us, a portable linear accelerator, which does in fact produce a plume of radioactivity from this device. And the physicists who would use it would set it up in an environment and give us a countdown. We'd have to get out of this way before they set it off, because it would create out this radioactive plume to see how it affects the phenomenon. And I think it was one of those kind of explorations to see what would happen to this phenomenon, because again, we don't quite understand what it is. And again, the whole idea of how we explore it and how we apply the technology is one of those key things, which is such great fodder for Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's actually a really cool story. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Christopher, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking with you, and hope to talk to you again sometime.
Definitely. Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right, take care.